Hey guys, your devoted runner here. I'm bringing another review for you of the Polar M400. It's a combination heart rate monitor and GPS watch for multi-sports. So this is what it looks like. This watch I've had for about a month, and I do really like it. Accuracy is about the same as what you'll find on the Garmin watches, the kind of mid-range watches. But there's a few features that I really like, and I'd like to show you those. I'm going to show you real quick about how long it takes to acquire a signal. It doesn't take too long. In my opinion, it's better than some of the Garmin watches at acquiring the satellites. So let's take a look. First, we need to press the start button, and it'll come up with a screen. Now you can reprogram these screens to either include GPS or don't include GPS. If you see right now, it's about 20% signal acquired. 30. Try and go up to 40. There is cloud cover today too, 60%. 80. And now we've got it. And that took at the most 45 seconds, less than a minute. So pretty good at acquiring the GPS. And then all you need to do to start your exercise is press this red button again on the side where you see the red. It's also red center button there, so it's pretty easy to see how to get started. Alright, and if you weren't wanting to run, you can set up your other profiles. I have one for trail running that has a backtrack function, so it'll help me find my way back off a trail. I have one set up for treadmill running, which basically just keeps my time for me. It would also track my heart rate if I had it set up for that. And I have one set up for walking. And I have one set up for doing CrossFit. It really only is going to track your time and distance on CrossFit. It doesn't really track exercise other than for your heart rate. And back to running. Those are the only 5 profiles I have loaded right now. And if you want to back out of that, you press this lower left-hand button on the side, and it goes back out. You can see, sorry about this, you can see there's a black indicator bar on the bottom of this. I have this set up to show date, time, and the 24-hour clock function, and also for the activity monitor. As you can see, mine is completely black, which in this case means I haven't done anything, which really means I haven't worn this watch today. But otherwise, as it tracks your activity, it'll turn white all the way across. There's 3 different levels of activity that it can monitor. So you can set it up. If you're relatively sedentary, it'll be at one level, and if you're kind of medium active, it'll be another level. And if you're really active, it'll set another level. So you have 3 different levels, and it'll track your activity throughout the day. Alright, as I mentioned, there's a few features that I really like on this watch. Setting up the profiles is definitely one of the features that I like. So you set the profiles. They do have some pre-programmed profiles in there, and you can modify them to show different screens on different profiles as well. So I'm going to show you, we'll just take the running profile, and I'll show you some of the screens that I've set up. I'm indoors at the moment, so I'm going to lose my GPS signal, but I will show you the various screens anyway. So here's when you start it. It started recording, Now I have this screen set up to show me distance. Well, now it's trying to find my GPS. Distance, the elapsed time, and average pace. For me, that's my most important screen. That's what I want to see. And you can just press the up or down buttons, which are on either side of the starting button, and switch to other screens. So I have time of day. So if I'm trying to keep track of a certain time of day, if I need to be back or whatever, I can see that. And also altitude. The altitude is set up on GPS. This is not a barometric altitude, but for the most part it's relatively accurate. So if your local topographical maps are accurate, then this is probably accurate as well. Then I have one screen that has time of day, altitude, and two different paces. I have average pace and current pace. So if I want to check all of that out, I can. So if I'm on a race trying to stay on a pace, I can see what my current pace is and also what I've been averaging. And then it goes back to start. So I'm going to close that out. Now if you want to stop recording, you can press and hold that button, the button on the bottom left, for 3 seconds, and it'll stop recording, which I'm going to do right now. And it says it is a short training session. Do I want to save it? And I'm going to say no. And once you select it with the arrow buttons, you just press the red button on the side. Alright, so that's one thing I really like. You can program those screens to show whichever information that you want while you're doing that activity. So not only can you load the activities you want on your watch, you can also load the various screens that you would like to see during that activity on the watch. So it's pretty customizable. It has pretty much everything that most runners or even bikers, hikers would want on their watch. So if you're a serious hiker, you're going to want a more rigorous outdoor watch with some mapping capability and barometric altitude sensor. But this works great if you're a runner. Now this says that it has about an 8-hour time under GPS usage, and I haven't taken it all the way out to 8 hours to really know, but I know that I can use it all week long on regular runs. Right now during my training I'm only doing approximately 4 to 5 miles on my longer runs, and I'm doing several sessions a week, and I wear it around all day long as a timepiece and activity tracker. So it works really great for that. So definitely if you're a casual runner, even into a serious runner, for your daily runs, it's probably just fine. I charge it about once a week. If you're doing longer miles, hours a day, you're probably going to have to charge it every day, every other day, something like that. You'll just have to figure out what works for you. If you're an ultra runner and you want to track a race, it's probably not going to be good for much longer than a very short 50 mile. Probably 50K would be about as much as you'd really want to use this watch for. If you need more time, you probably want to move up to a more expensive watch with more battery time. But this is a pretty good watch for your everyday runner, even into some runners that are a lot more serious. As I said before, it's pretty accurate. If you have had a Garmin or have been researching Garmin's, it's pretty much on par with that. The only thing I've ever had an issue with, and it's only a matter of maybe a few meters here and there, is during interval training. So if you're doing an interval and you're going back and forth between two known points, It is going to vary a little bit because if you're turning around and running back, the satellite tracking is going to be off a few meters, so where you finish the next leg of your interval may be slightly off. But if you're running intervals in a straight line, it's pretty accurate. So I think that's pretty standard across all GPS devices. If you're going one way and suddenly turn around and go the other way, it takes a second or two for the GPS to track it back the other way. So you're going to be off a few meters, and your finish line for your interval may be off a few meters then from what you're used to. But that does bring me to another feature that I really like about this watch, and that is the interval timer. Now if you scroll through using the arrow buttons, you'll come to a screen called timers. And if you press the red button, you'll see a screen that says interval timers and finish time estimator. The finish time estimator is it's okay if you're trying to finish within a certain time. Sorry about all this reflection. You can set the time, start the watch and start running, and it'll give you approximate time that you're going to finish running the certain distance. So you can set a distance and it'll give you an estimate about when you are going to finish, and it's based off your average pace. So the faster you go, it'll change, and if you slow down, it'll change. It'll keep on changing with your pace. But I'm talking about the interval timer. So if I select that, which is the white screen, you can set this up to either have distance intervals or time intervals, or a combination of the two. So I had this set up to do 300-meter sprints intervals, and with a 300-meter easy between. So if you're doing just distance intervals, you can sprint 300 and then jog back 300, and it just measures distance. But you could also set it to run 300 and take whatever, a 2-minute break, and it will also time that. So what that looks like is this. We're going to set a timed interval. So you have a choice, time-based or distance-based. We're going to set the time-based. We'll just say 1 minute, 0 seconds, and then it'll ask if you want to set another timer. You can set 2 of these timers. We'll say yes. And then you have the choice again, time-based or distance-based. We're going to set another time-based. 1 minute. And then from that screen, you can start. When you press start, it'll give you a choice of which activity you want to do. So if you're doing CrossFit with some sort of timed interval where you're doing exercise for whatever certain amount of time and rest for a certain amount of time, you can do that. We're going to put it on the treadmill setting just because no GPS will be involved. And this is what that looks like when you press start. Recording start, and then it'll give you basically a countdown timer. So you can glance at this while you're running, and you can see how much you have left. It'll tell you how many % you've completed and how long it's taking you. So it's a countdown timer, 38, 37, 36, but then the percentage increases. And it also keeps track of how many of these intervals that you do, and it'll keep on doing it until you tell it to stop as far as the interval is concerned. And this is at 70%, and we went for time. Now while this is tracking time, it will also track your distance, and you'll see that. You went 1 lap for 1 minute, but it also check your distance on that lap. So it records your distance. It records if you have a profile with the GPS active, it records your route, all of that. So it's recording everything, but your main screen is this interval timer. So if you're running sprints or some sort of interval, it just keeps you doing the interval until you tell it to stop, which I'm going to do right now. And it'll ask me, as a short training session, do I want to save it? I'm going to say no. Alright. Now, you probably heard that beeping. You can't set the volume on this watch, on the watch itself. You have to use the software from Polar, which is called Polar Flow. And my watch is actually set on the loudest setting. And I'm going to tell you the one thing I really don't like about this watch, and it's kind of split into two parts, is the beep is not loud enough. So you could be running a full-out sprint. If you have a little bit of wind in your ears, you might be wearing a couple layers of clothes if it's cooler outside, and you've got the pounding feet and all of that, you may not hear the watch beep. Part two of that is there's no vibrate function to let you know that it's signaling you. So as you near the end of the interval, you pretty much have to keep looking at your wrist to see when the interval stops, because chances are you're not going to hear that beep. And that's somewhat annoying for me, because one of the reasons I really like this watch is for the interval timer, and one of the reasons I dislike it is because the beeping when you change the interval is not loud enough to hear. So I'm hoping that in future versions of the watch, Polar will really increase the beep, and or include a vibration function so that you can tell that the watch is asking you to do something. Just some sort of quick vibration. Garmin includes it on many of their watches, and the Garmin watches beep louder than this watch. So if that's a concern for you, you may want to consider a different watch. But with all these other features, I really like the watch. Now we're going to look a little bit on the Polar Flow site to kind of see the information that you can track and change. So when you first log in to the Polar Flow system, it'll come up with an Explore screen. So if you wanted to see what other people that are on Polar Flow are doing, you can see that. This generally shows various people. So if we want to look at what someone's doing in Iceland, we can check it out. And this comes up with the people here, a couple guys running, road running, other outdoor. It'll give distances for them and all that kind of thing. So it's sort of Strava-like in that regard, where you can kind of compare yourself to other people on Polar Flow. One side note is this really doesn't match up to anything like Strava. You can export individual workouts from your diary, so we'll take a look at that. I haven't uploaded my watch this week yet, but this will show me workouts that I've done so far in April. So if I wanted to take this run right here, by the way, these percentages are the daily activity percentages. So on this particular day, when I did a workout, I reached 150%. So right here, if I take this particular workout on my workout diary, I was doing a 4-mile run, and I was doing an out and back, so I followed this route and back, and it shows me a average pace line and also an altitude line on this particular thing. If I was using the heart rate monitor, which I was not, it would also show me that. Right now I just have it on the default for 1 kilometer laps for the automatic, but you can change it on the watch. So if I change it to 1 mile distance, you can see my lap speeds for that. So I'm running roughly an average of 8.5 minute mile on this 4 mile run. Alright, and then down here you can export the session. So if I want to export this, you can export it as a GPX file, which will mostly show your route. You can do it as training, which includes more information like your heart rate, that sort of thing. And you can also export it as a CSV file. So each individual workout is easy to export in various formats that you may use for Strava or other sites where you track your training. But you can't do one big bulk export for like on your diary. So if you pull up this diary, and for me this is a negative, I'm hoping that they upgrade this to be able to upload in bulk. So if you look at this, there's no place to export your entire week or month. So if we take the week view, which, sorry, my internet connection's a little slow at the moment, but you can see that there's no place where you can export it by the week. So that's a downfall. You can export individual activities, but you can't export like a week or a month at a time. So for me that's a downfall, that's a drawback that needs to be fixed. You should be able to bulk download, in my opinion, select each individual workout and put them into a file to bulk upload if you want to track them on another site like Strava to compare yourself against people who are tracking on Strava. What would be ideal is if you could download directly to the Strava site, like the Garmin users can do. Right now the Polar users cannot do that. So if that's a major concern for you, you want to look at a different watch. So for me, this gives me different progress stats. So the more I upload, it will show what my progress is for. So this is for duration, so if I start going longer, that line just keeps going up. And distance, it just gives me different stats, which are nice, no big deal. It tracks stuff well enough for you to track your training, and if you wear a heart rate monitor with this, it also tracks your heart rate, so it'll give you a good idea of your fitness level. There is also a fitness test built into your watch that's basically built on speed, distance, and heart rate, so kind of gives you a rough VO2 max estimate, so you can do that. If you want to do various sport profiles, like I mentioned before, these are the ones that I have set up. I have 5. I have trail running, treadmill running, walking, CrossFit, and just a straight running. I use that for road running. And you can edit these. So if I want to edit my running profile, like I mentioned before, training views, if I want to see distance, duration, and average speed and pace, I can do that. I can add different screens. You can add up to 4 different screens of information that you want to see. So if I want to add a new item, it gives me options down here: time of day, duration, lap time. If I want to add altitude, ascent, descent, those sort of things. Body measurement, that's generally if I want to see calories, heart rate zones, heart rate averages, current heart rates, that sort of thing. Distance options, including lap distance. Speed options, so if I want to track my pace and speed zones and stuff like that, you can do that. GPS and altitude, you get to choose if you want to see those. So all of that can be tracked on there pretty easily. So I do like that. It's pretty customizable. And then just general settings, how you want your watch set up. You can set it up in imperial or metric units, language, how you want your date, and when you want your day to start. I have mine set up for a 24-hour time and that sort of thing. So in general, pretty simple, easy to navigate. I like Polar Flow, but I don't like the fact that I can't just transfer stuff to Strava really easily, especially since I have to download each activity individually and upload those to Strava. Now I could probably upload a whole file, a whole bulk file to Strava, but I still have to download them from Polar individually, and that I'd rather not do. So my overall opinion on the Polar M400. I like the watch. I don't use heart rate training, so I didn't really need to use a heart rate monitor. Polar is known for their heart rate monitors, and if you want to use it for that, for heart rate training, you really can't go wrong. The GPS is at least as accurate as the Garmin. It's super easy to use and navigate. It's customizable. It's a good option. It's low cost. You can find this watch for probably $150 without the heart rate monitor. I've seen it on Amazon and various other sites. It's been on sale at Best Buy for like $179.99. With the heart rate monitor on Amazon is something like $205. So you can get a really good price on this watch, and it's comfortable to wear. You could wear it for every day. The things I don't like that I mentioned is the Polar Flow software. It's not easily uploaded to Strava. So if you're collecting Strava data, you might not be that happy. The other thing I really don't like is the very low volume on the beeping of the watch to signal various functions. So intervals, very quiet beep. Mile indicator, very quiet beep. I've never been able to hear it unless I'm actually straining to hear it. And there's no vibration function at all. So if you're looking for the watch to indicate these things with some sort of loud beep or a vibration, you're going to miss out on that. The good things that I mentioned, it's accurate. It's relatively inexpensive for a GPS watch. It's very high quality. I've been using it for about a month. No issues. The watch face doesn't get scratched up easily. I've worn it to work. I've worn it while I run. I just wear it around the house. Really wanted to get good use out of it. I really like the activity indicator. So it gives you a good idea of how much activity you're doing in a day. And you can set 3 different levels of activity to meet your goals. It does indicate if you've been sitting too long. It will give you a reminder, but again, if you're busy doing something, you may not hear that little beep, but it will show up on your watch, so you may notice it and get up and move. So it's a pretty good multi-use, multi-function watch. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it. You just have to remember those couple of caveats that I've given you, and overall I probably give it a 8 out of 10. Overall, really good value, really good watch. I would buy it again, but again, I would like to have some of these issues fixed. So Polar, if you're watching, let's work on the signaling with the beeping and the vibration function. And also let's work on our compatibility with Strava. That would really help out a lot. Alright, so thanks for watching. I hope that you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel if you get the opportunity. Give me some comments. If you like this review, let me know. Thanks a lot for watching and for reading, and we'll check in with you later.